The alarm bells rang through Station Harmony 7 like a scream. Taeyang Kim dropped his wrench and grabbed the wall as the floor shook beneath his feet. He was 17 years old and worked as a mechanic's apprentice in the lower levels of the massive space station. The explosion came from somewhere close, maybe just a few sections away. Red lights flashed in the narrow corridor. Other workers ran past him, heading toward the emergency exits. Taeyang's heart pounded in his chest. He had been fixing a broken panel when the whole station seemed to shake apart. "Everyone out. Section 7 Delta is sealed," a security officer shouted as he ran past. "Plasma conduit explosion. The whole area is going to collapse." Taeyang followed the crowd, his mind racing. Section 7 Delta was where he spent most of his time. He knew every tunnel, every passage, every maintenance shaft in that area. He had just been there yesterday, working on the air systems. The crowd pushed into the main corridor. Hundreds of aliens and humans were evacuating the lower levels. Taeyang saw species he recognized and some he didn't. There were tall Torvans with their gray skin, small Felinians with fur and tails, and crystalline Quilarians who sparkled under the emergency lights. As they reached the safe zone, Taeyang heard someone shouting. A tall Quilarian was standing in front of Commander Breck, the station's security chief. The Quilarian's crystalline skin flashed with different colors, showing his panic. "My wife is in there. You have to send someone." The Quilarian's voice was desperate. Commander Breck was a huge Torvan with dark gray skin and 4 arms. He shook his massive head. "I'm sorry, Ambassador Velthera. The radiation levels are too high. Any rescue team would die before they reached the trapped survivors. I'll pay anything. Name your price." Velthera grabbed the commander's arm. "It's not about money," Breck said quietly. "It's impossible. The radiation would kill anyone in minutes. We've sealed the section to protect the rest of the station." Taeyang stood nearby, pretending to check a wall panel, but listening to every word. 17 people were trapped in Section 7 Delta. One of them was Velthara's pregnant wife. He had heard the gossip in the maintenance crews. Quilarians could only have a child once every 50 years. This baby was a miracle for them. "How long do they have?" Velthara asked, his voice breaking. 2 hours before the structure collapses completely," Breck said. "I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do." Taeyang's mind worked fast. Radiation, that was the problem. Most alien species couldn't handle high radiation. Their bodies would break down, their cells would die. But humans were different. Earth had higher radiation than most planets. Humans had evolved to handle it better than almost any other species in the galaxy. He thought about the maintenance tunnels. There was a small access shaft that led into Section 7 Delta from below. It was barely wide enough for a human to crawl through. No alien species on the station could fit through it. The bigger species were too large, and even the smaller ones couldn't squeeze through the tight turns. Taeyang made his decision before he could think too much about it. If he thought too long, fear would stop him. He walked quickly to the emergency supply room. His hands shook as he grabbed an EVA suit, the kind used for spacewalks. It wasn't meant for radiation, but it was better than nothing. He found sheets of lead plating used for reactor repairs and began strapping them to the suit with magnetic clamps. "Hey, what are you doing?" Another worker shouted at him. Taeyang didn't answer. He sealed the helmet and ran toward the maintenance access tunnels. His breathing sounded loud inside the helmet. The suit felt heavy with all the extra plating, but he could move. The access tunnel was dark and narrow. Taeyang crawled on his hands and knees, pulling himself forward. The radiation detector on his suit began to beep. The levels were rising. He ignored it and kept moving. It took him 20 minutes to reach Section 7 Delta through the tunnels. When he emerged, he saw destruction everywhere. The walls were black from fire. Smoke filled the air. Sparks shot from broken cables hanging from the ceiling. "Hello," Taeyang called out. "Is anyone here?" "Help us," a voice cried from the darkness. Taeyang found them huddled in what used to be a shopping area. 17 beings, all different species. Some were injured. Others were coughing from the smoke. A female Quilarian sat against the wall, her hands on her swollen belly. That had to be Sarah, Velthara's wife. "I'm here to get you out," Taeyang said. "But we have to move fast." "The radiation," a Felinian woman said, her cat-like ears flat against her head. "We can't survive it." "I know a path with lower levels," Taeyang lied. The truth was all paths had high radiation, but he couldn't tell them that or they would give up. "Follow me. Stay close." He led the 5 who could walk on their own first. They moved through the damaged corridors, climbing over debris. Taeyang's suit detector screamed warnings at him. He turned off the sound. They reached the safe zone. Medical teams grabbed the survivors. Commander Breck stared at Taeyang in shock. "You crazy human, what did you do?" "There are more," Taeyang said. "I'm going back." "No! I order you to whoa!" But Taeyang was already running back into the tunnels. His body ached. The radiation was affecting him, but humans could take more than other species. He had time. Maybe the second trip was harder. Sarah couldn't walk fast. Taeyang had to help her, supporting her weight. 3 others came with them, moving slowly. The station shook around them. Pieces of the ceiling fell. "Keep moving," Taeyang shouted. "We're almost there." They made it to the safe zone. Velthera ran to his wife, holding her as she collapsed into his arms. Tears ran down his crystalline face. 2 more are still inside, Taeyang gasped. "Badly hurt. Can't walk. The section is collapsing," Breck shouted. "You can't go back." "I have to." Taeyang turned and ran before anyone could stop him. His 3rd trip was a nightmare. The corridors were falling apart. Fire blocked some paths. Taeyang found the last 2 survivors, a Torvan man and a Felinian girl. Both were unconscious. He dragged them one at a time, his muscles screaming in pain. The station shook violently. A huge piece of metal fell from the ceiling, missing Taeyang by inches. He pulled the last survivor through the maintenance tunnel, just as Section 7 Delta exploded behind them. They tumbled into the safe zone. Medical teams rushed forward. Strong hands caught Taeyang as his legs gave out. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was Velthara's face, staring at him with wonder. When the darkness came, Taeyang didn't fight it. He had done what he needed to do. Everyone was safe. That was enough. Taeyang woke up in a room he didn't recognize. The bed was soft, much softer than his small bunk in the worker quarters. Sunlight came through large windows. Wait, sunlight? That wasn't possible on a space station. He tried to sit up and groaned. Every muscle in his body hurt. His skin felt hot like a bad sunburn. The radiation exposure? He remembered now. "Easy, young one." A gentle voice spoke. A medical robot floated next to his bed. "You've been unconscious for 3 days. Your body is healing, but you need rest." 3 days? Taeyang's throat was dry. "The people I rescued. Are they okay?" "All 17 survivors are alive and recovering," the robot said. "You saved them all." "The station is calling you a hero." Taeyang didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired and sore. "Where am I?" "The executive medical suite. Ambassador Velthara requested the best care for you." The door opened. Velthara entered the room, moving with the strange grace of his species. His crystalline body caught the light and threw rainbow patterns on the walls. His face was hard to read, but his eyes showed emotion humans could understand. Gratitude, relief. "You're awake," Velthara said. "I've been waiting to thank you properly." "No need," Taeyang said. "Anyone would have done the same." "That's not true. The station commander said it was impossible. Every expert said no one could survive that rescue, but you did it anyway." Velthara sat in a chair beside the bed. For such a tall being, he made himself small, like he was trying not to intimidate Taeyang. "My wife Sarah is alive because of you. Our child is alive because of you." Taeyang felt embarrassed. "I'm glad they're safe. That's what matters. In my culture, when someone saves a life, they create a debt that can never truly be repaid," Velthara said. "But I must try. Tell me what you want, anything. Money, property, a ship of your own, education at any institution in the galaxy. Name it and it's yours." Taeyang stared at the ceiling. What did he want? His mind went to his mother Jiwoo and his little sister Hana back on Luna Colony. They lived in a small apartment, working hard just to survive. His mother cleaned offices. Hana was smart, brilliant even, but there was no money for good schools. He could ask for wealth. He could make sure his family never struggled again. But then he thought about all the other human families struggling on Earth's moon, on Mars, on the distant colonies. He thought about how humans were treated in the galaxy. Second-class citizens, observer species, allowed to watch but never allowed to truly participate. "Help my people," Taeyang said quietly. "Help humanity." Velthara's crystalline features showed surprise. "What do you mean?" "Humans have been in space for almost 50 years now," Taeyang said, the words flowing faster. But we're still treated like children. We can't vote in the Galactic Council. Our traders pay higher taxes than other species. Human students get rejected from good schools just because they're human. If you want to repay me, use your influence to give humanity a real chance. Velthara was silent for a long moment. You would use a life debt not for yourself, but for your entire species. I don't need money, Taeyang said. My family will be fine. But if you can help billions of humans have better lives, that's worth more than any personal reward. What you ask is far more difficult than giving you wealth. Velthara said slowly. It will require challenging the Galactic Council itself. Many species fear humanity. They see your violent history, your rapid expansion, your emotions. Convincing them to accept humans as equals will be nearly impossible. But you'll try? Taeyang asked. Velthara's face shifted into what might have been a smile. Yes, I'll try. Though I warn you, this path will be harder than running into a radiation zone. Over the next few days, Taeyang recovered his strength. Sarah visited him, moving slowly with her pregnant belly. She placed Taeyang's hand on her stomach, and he felt the baby kick. Tears came to his eyes. This small life existed because he had been brave for a few hours. Our child will know your name, Sarah said softly. They will grow up hearing the story of the human who saved their life. Velthara brought other visitors. Ambassador Ryun Park was an older human man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had represented Earth at the Galactic Council for 15 years, fighting for human rights with little success. I've dreamed of this moment, Ambassador Park said, shaking Taeyang's hand, a chance to actually petition for full council membership. But I need you to understand something, young man. We might fail. The council is stubborn. Many species will oppose us. We have to try, Taeyang said. Yes, Park smiled. Yes, we do. Velthara also contacted a council member named Kalen, a Sarathi who had long questioned the council's treatment of newer species. Kalen was old, even by alien standards, with deep wisdom in his large eyes. The human boy who ran into fire to save strangers, Kalen said when he met Taeyang via hologram. Your action speaks louder than any diplomatic argument. But be prepared. The council chamber is its own kind of fire. As Taeyang grew stronger, Velthara explained his plan. They would travel to Council Prime, the massive station where the Galactic Council met. Velthara would formally petition for humanity to receive full membership status with voting rights and equal standing among the galactic community. Currently, humanity has observer status, Velthara explained. You can watch council proceedings, but you cannot vote or propose laws. We want to change that. Who will oppose us? Taeyang asked. Many species, Velthara said honestly. The Vrexians view humans as dangerous. The Korath see you as too young and immature. Others simply resist change. The council has had the same member species for thousands of years. Adding a new voice, especially a human voice, frightens them. Taeyang talked to his family through a video call. His mother Jiwoo cried when she saw him. His sister Hana, now 13, stared at him with wide eyes. You're famous, Hana said. Everyone is talking about you. They're saying you might change everything for humans in space. I'm just trying to help, Taeyang said. You already did, his mother said, wiping her eyes. I'm so proud of you. But please be careful. These are powerful people you're dealing with. I will, Mom, I promise. After the call ended, Taeyang sat quietly. Fear crept into his heart. What had he done? He was just a mechanic's apprentice from Luna Colony. He fixed broken panels and cleaned air filters. Now he was supposed to speak before the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Sarah found him sitting alone, staring out the window at the stars. Having second thoughts, she asked gently. I don't know if I can do this, Taeyang admitted, speaking in front of the council. All those important people. What if I mess up? What if I make things worse for humanity? Sarah sat beside him. You ran into a collapsing station filled with deadly radiation. You saved 17 people, including me and my unborn child. Speaking words is easy compared to that. But what if I say the wrong thing? Then you say the wrong thing, Sarah said. But you'll be saying it honestly from your heart. That matters more than perfect words. My people, the Quilarians, we value logic above all else. But your rescue taught me something. Sometimes the bravest, most logical choice looks illogical to others. You saw a problem and fixed it. That's what you'll do at the council. You'll show them that humans deserve respect. Taeyang nodded slowly. When do we leave? In 3 days, Sarah said. Velthara is arranging everything. The journey to Council Prime takes 2 weeks through slip space. That gives us time to prepare. Will you teach me about the council? Taeyang asked. I don't know anything about galactic politics, Sarah smiled. Ambassador Park and I will teach you everything we can. But remember, you're not going as a politician. You're going as yourself. That's your strength. As the station's artificial day turned to night, Taeyang looked out at the galaxy beyond the windows. Somewhere out there was Council Prime. Somewhere out there, the future of humanity would be decided. He touched his chest, feeling his heartbeat. Strong and steady. He had survived the radiation. He would survive this too for humanity. For his family. For all the humans struggling to find their place among the stars, he was ready. The ship that carried them to Council Prime was like nothing Taeyang had ever seen. It belonged to Velthara and was larger than most buildings on Luna Colony. Inside, every surface gleamed with expensive materials. The windows showed the strange colors of slip space. The dimension ships traveled through to move faster than light. Taeyang shared a comfortable cabin with Ambassador Park. The older man spent hours teaching him about galactic politics, about the different species on the council, about the laws and traditions that governed everything. The Vrexian sovereignty will be our biggest problem, Park explained one evening. They sat in the ship's common area, looking at holographic displays of council members. They control significant military power and have influence over a dozen smaller species. Their representative, Skelmore, has blocked every attempt to improve humanity's status. Why do they hate us? Taeyang asked. Fear mostly, Park said. Humans remind them of themselves thousands of years ago. Aggressive, expanding fast, fighting among ourselves. They see us as a threat to galactic stability. Are we a threat? Park sighed. We can be. Humans have done terrible things, Taeyang. The resource wars almost destroyed Earth. We've made mistakes on colony worlds, damaged environments, displaced native species. The Vrexians aren't wrong about our history. They're just wrong about our future. Taeyang spent time with Sarah as well. She was getting closer to her due date. Moving carefully through the ship's corridors, she taught him Quillarian meditation techniques to calm his racing thoughts. Your mind is loud, she said during one session. You think too much about what might go wrong. Because a lot can go wrong, Taeyang said. What if the council rejects us? What if I say something stupid? Then we try again, Sarah said simply. Failure is not the end. It's just information about what doesn't work. You try something different next time. Kalen, the Sarathi council member, joined them via hologram several times. He was an interesting being, with skin that seemed to shift colors and large knowing eyes that had seen centuries pass. I've been on the council for 90 years, Kalen told Taeyang. I've watched species rise and fall. I've seen the best and worst of galactic civilization. Do you know what I've learned? What? Taeyang asked. That every species believes they're special. They believe their way is right and everyone else is wrong. But the truly wise species learn from others. They adapt, they grow. Humanity has that potential, I think. You're young enough to still change. Will you support us in the council? Taeyang asked. Yes, Kalen said. Though I warn you, my voice carries weight but not enough to guarantee success. You'll need to convince others. You'll need to show them humanity's worth. The 2-week journey gave Taeyang time to think. At night, he lay in his cabin and worried. He was just a teenager. He'd never finished school properly. He'd spent his life in maintenance tunnels, not in libraries or classrooms. How could he possibly represent humanity? One night, unable to sleep, he found Velthara in the ship's observation deck. The ambassador stood at the window, watching slip space flow past in ribbons of impossible colors. Can't sleep? Velthara asked without turning. Too nervous, Taeyang admitted. Good. Nervousness means you understand the stakes. Velthara gestured to the window. I've been thinking about what you did in Section 7 Delta. Do you know why it worked? Because humans can handle more radiation? No, well yes, but that's not the real reason. Velthara turned to face him. It worked because you didn't overthink it. You saw a problem, knew you could help, and acted. You didn't calculate odds or consider political consequences. You just moved. That's not how the council works, though, Taeyang said. Ambassador Park says everything there is about calculation and politics. True, Velthara agreed. But sometimes in a room full of calculated politicians, the person who speaks simply and honestly is the most powerful. Don't try to be something you're not. Be the boy who ran into fire to save strangers. That's who the council needs to see. Finally, they arrived at Council Prime. Taiyang pressed his face against the window as the massive station came into view. It was enormous, larger than Earth's moon. Millions of beings lived there. Thousands of ships moved around it like insects around a light. "It's beautiful," Taiyang whispered. "It's a symbol," Park said, standing beside him. "A symbol of what different species can build when they work together. We want humanity to truly be part of that." As they docked, Taiyang saw crowds waiting. News of their petition had spread across the galaxy. Humans from every colony watched on broadcasts. Journalists from dozens of species filled the station's public areas. "There are protesters," Sarah said, pointing to screens showing the station's main plaza. Some beings held signs supporting humanity. Others held signs opposing them. "Democracy is messy," Kalen's hologram said. He had joined them for the arrival. "But it's the best system we have. Come, I'll guide you to your quarters." The quarters Velthara had arranged were luxurious, but Taiyang barely noticed. His stomach felt tight with anxiety. Tomorrow they would formally present their petition. Tomorrow, everything would begin. That evening, a human journalist named Mirai Choi requested an interview. She was in her 30s, professional and sharp. "The whole human community is watching," Mirai said as her camera recorded. "What do you want to say to them?" Taiyang thought carefully. "I want to say that I'm scared. I'm just a regular person. I'm not special or educated or important. But I think that's okay. Humanity doesn't need perfect people to represent us. We just need honest people who try their best. That's what I'll do." The interview spread quickly through human networks. Messages of support flooded in from Earth, Mars, Luna Colony, and distant settlements. Humans everywhere were hoping, praying, wishing for success. But opposition grew too. The Vrexian delegation released a statement listing humanity's failures. They showed images of Earth's polluted cities, videos of human wars, records of treaty violations. They painted a picture of a dangerous, uncontrolled species that shouldn't be trusted with galactic responsibility. "They're not wrong about our past," Park said sadly, reading the Vrexian statement. "But they're wrong about who we are now," Taiyang said. "People can change. Species can change. That's what we have to prove," Park agreed. The night before the hearing, Taiyang couldn't sleep. He walked the quiet corridors of their quarters. He found Velthara in a meditation room, his crystalline body glowing softly in the dim light. "Tomorrow we begin," Velthara said. "I'm terrified," Taiyang admitted. "So am I," Velthara said. "I'm risking my reputation, my business relationships, my standing in the council. If this fails, many will see me as a fool who wasted a life debt on an impossible dream. Then why do it?" Velthara was quiet for a moment. "Because you saved my wife and child. Because that simple act of courage deserves to be honored. Because I've lived 200 years and never met someone who would sacrifice personal gain to help their entire species. Because maybe, just maybe, humanity is exactly what the galaxy needs." Taiyang felt tears in his eyes. "What if I let everyone down?" "Then we tried," Velthara said. "That's more than most ever do. Now rest. Tomorrow we show the council what humanity is capable of." Taiyang returned to his room. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Outside the window, Council Prime gleamed with lights from 1,000 worlds. Somewhere in that massive station was the council chamber. Tomorrow he would stand before the most powerful beings in the galaxy. He thought of his mother and sister on Luna Colony. He thought of all the humans working hard, struggling, hoping for a better future. He thought of the 17 people he'd saved, alive because one person decided to try. Fear still gripped his heart. But beneath it something else grew, determination, hope. He would speak his truth. He would show them humanity's heart. Whatever happened after that, at least he would know he tried. Tomorrow, everything would change. He closed his eyes and, finally, slept. The council chamber was the most impressive room Taiyang had ever seen. It was circular and enormous, with seats rising in curved tiers around a central platform. Each tier held representatives from different species, 73 in total. The ceiling showed a hologram of the galaxy, stars spinning slowly overhead. Taiyang sat in the visitor section with Sarah and Ambassador Park. His hands shook. He tried to remember the meditation techniques Sarah taught him, but his heart raced anyway. Velthara stood on the central platform, his crystalline body reflecting light across the chamber. He looked calm and confident, like he belonged there. Taeyang wished he felt the same way. "Honored council members," Velthara began, his voice carried by perfect acoustics to every corner of the massive room. "I invoke the ancient right of life debt to petition this body. I ask that you grant humanity full membership status in the Galactic Council." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some species seemed curious. Others looked angry. A few looked bored, like they'd heard this all before. Ambassador Park stood and walked to the platform. Taeyang watched his mentor, the man who had fought for human rights for 15 years, finally get his moment. Park's speech was brilliant. He talked about human achievements in medicine, agriculture, and art. He mentioned trade partnerships and scientific discoveries. He showed graphs of human economic growth and cultural exchange programs. He painted a picture of a species ready to join the galactic community as equals. But then Representative Skelmore of the Vrexian sovereignty stood. He was tall and reptilian, with scales that gleamed like metal and eyes that showed no warmth. "The human speaks well," Skelmore said, his voice cold. "But words are cheap. Let me show you actions." Holographic displays appeared in the air. Images of Earth during the resource wars, cities burning, oceans polluted, forests destroyed. Then videos of human colony ships arriving at pristine worlds and changing them, sometimes destroying native life in the process. "This is humanity," Skelmore said, "a species that nearly destroyed their own planet and now spreads that destruction across the stars. They violate treaties. They fight among themselves. They act on emotion rather than logic." More displays appeared. A recent incident on Tau City IV, where human colonists had taken land that belonged to the native Delphian people. A trade dispute where human merchants were accused of fraud. A bar fight on a border station where humans attacked Korath traders. "Every species has growing pains," Skelmore continued. "But humanity is dangerous. They are too young, too aggressive, too unpredictable. Observer status is already generous. Full membership would be a mistake this council would regret for centuries." Other representatives spoke. Some supported humanity cautiously. Many opposed. The debate grew heated. Species argued about human nature, about fairness, about risk and reward. Taeyang felt sick. Every criticism was true. Humans had done terrible things. Were still doing terrible things. Maybe the council was right to reject them. Then Velthara did something unexpected. He invoked another ancient right. The testimony of the rescued. Under council law, when a life debt was involved, those who were saved could speak. Sarah rose slowly, her pregnant belly obvious to everyone. The council fell silent. A pregnant Quilarian was rare, sacred even. Her presence commanded respect. "I am Sarah, wife of Velthara," she said, her voice strong despite her condition. "I was trapped in Section 7 Delta during a plasma explosion. 17 of us faced certain death. The radiation levels were lethal. Every expert said rescue was impossible." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Then a human boy came for us. Taeyang Kim, just 17 years old. He crawled through tunnels too small for anyone else. He walked through radiation that would kill most species in minutes. He made 3 trips into a collapsing station, refusing to leave anyone behind. The species in this chamber call humans emotional and reckless. I call them brave and compassionate." The chamber was completely silent now. "My child lives because a human risked his life," Sarah continued. "Not for money, not for fame, simply because beings needed help. Is that the mark of a dangerous species? Or is that the mark of a species that understands what truly matters?" She sat down. The silence stretched. Then Velthara spoke again. "I called Taeyang Kim to testify." Taeyang's blood went cold. This wasn't the plan. He was just supposed to observe. He looked at Ambassador Park, who nodded encouragingly. Somehow, Taeyang's legs carried him to the platform. He stood in the center of the council chamber, 73 species staring down at him. The galaxy spun overhead. His mouth went dry. "I'm not good at speeches," Taeyang began, his voice small in the huge space. "I'm just a mechanic's apprentice. I fix broken things on space stations." He saw some council members lean forward, curious about this human boy. "Representative Skelmore is right about us," Taeyang continued. "Humans have made terrible mistakes. We fought wars that almost destroyed Earth. We've harmed our environment and each other. We've made mistakes in space too." Murmurs of agreement from the opposition. "But that's exactly why we should be here," Taeyang said, his voice growing stronger. Every species in this chamber has a history. You've all faced darkness. You've all made choices you regret. The difference is you've had thousands of years to learn. We've had hundreds. He looked around the chamber, meeting eyes both human and alien. We're young. We're flawed. But we're learning. We're trying. And maybe that's what the galaxy needs. A species that remembers what it's like to struggle, to fail, to fight for survival. We understand desperation. We understand hope. His hand stopped shaking. The words flowed naturally now. When I went into Section 7 Delta, I didn't think about politics or species or diplomacy. I saw people who needed help. So I helped them. That's what humans do. We see a problem, and even when we're scared, even when it's dangerous, we try to fix it. Taeyang's voice filled the chamber now, clear and strong. You can keep us as observers watching from the outside, or you can let us in, let us contribute, let us prove that we can be partners in building something better. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for a chance, just a chance to show you what we can become. He stopped talking. His heart pounded. Had he said enough, too much? The wrong things? The silence was deafening. Then Kalen, the old Sarathi, stood. I propose a compromise, Kalen said. Provisional membership. Grant humanity limited council status for 10 years. Give them voting rights on matters that directly affect them, but not on universal legislation. After 10 years, we review their progress. If they've proven themselves worthy, they achieve full membership. That's insulting, a Korath representative said. Provisional status is for primitive species. No, Kalen said firmly. It's for young species. There's a difference. Humanity is not primitive. They're simply new to this community. This compromise gives them opportunity while protecting council interests. The debate exploded again. Species argued for and against. Hours passed. Taeyang was sent back to his seat, exhausted and emotionally drained. Sarah squeezed his hand. You did well, she whispered. I don't know, Taeyang said. I just told the truth. Sometimes that's all you can do, she said. The debate raged into the evening. Finally, after 16 hours, the council moved to vote. The chamber fell silent as the votes were tallied electronically. Taeyang held his breath. Beside him, Ambassador Park's eyes were closed in prayer. Velthara stood motionless, every facet of his crystalline body reflecting the chamber lights. The result appeared on the central display, 38 in favor. 35 against, provisional membership granted. The chamber erupted. Some species celebrated, others protested. Ambassador Park wept openly. Velthara's entire body flashed with colors Taeyang had never seen before. Sarah smiled, her hand on her belly. Your child will grow up in a better galaxy, she said to Taeyang. Taeyang couldn't speak. He had done it. They had done it. Humanity had a seat at the table. It wasn't perfect. It was provisional, limited, conditional, but it was a chance. A real chance, that was all they needed. The news reached Earth in seconds. Across Luna Colony, Mars settlements, orbital stations, and distant colonies, humans celebrated. People poured into streets, crying and laughing. In New Seoul on the moon, where Taeyang's family lived, fireworks lit up the dome covering the city. Taeyang watched the celebrations through news feeds in Velthara's quarters. His face appeared on screens across human space. People called him a hero, a legend, the boy who changed everything. It felt strange and overwhelming. How do you feel? Velthara asked, standing beside him. Tired, Taeyang said honestly, and confused. I just talked to them. I didn't do anything special. You did the most special thing possible, Velthara said. You showed them your humanity. Not statistics or arguments. Just honest truth from your heart. That's powerful. Ambassador Park burst into the room, his face flushed with joy. We did it! After 15 years of fighting, we finally did it. He grabbed Taeyang in a tight hug. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this moment. But not everyone was happy. News channels showed protests on Earth. Some human groups called provisional membership an insult. They wanted full status immediately or nothing at all. Freedom First Movement calls this a humiliation. Mirai Choi reported on her broadcast. They say humanity should reject the Council's offer and go our own way. There will always be those who oppose compromise, Ambassador Park said, his joy dimming slightly. But this is progress, real, meaningful progress. The alien response was mixed too. The Vrexian sovereignty formally protested the decision. 3 other species threatened to reduce their council participation. Some called humanity's acceptance a dangerous mistake that would be regretted. Change is always difficult. Kalen said when he visited them. The council has existed in basically the same form for thousands of years. Adding a new voice disrupts that comfort, but disruption is sometimes necessary for growth. 3 weeks after the vote, Sarah went into labor. Quillarian births were rare and difficult. Velthara paced outside the medical center for 12 hours, his crystalline body shifting through anxious colors. When the doctors finally emerged, they were smiling. "A healthy daughter," the Quillarian doctor said. "Mother and child are both well." Velthara rushed inside. Taeyang waited, giving the family privacy. But an hour later, Velthara came out and gestured for him to enter. Sarah lay in bed looking exhausted but happy. In her arms was a tiny baby with crystalline skin that sparkled like her parents'. The baby's eyes were closed and she made small sounds that could have been from any infant in the galaxy. "We've chosen her name," Sarah said softly. "We want to honor the bridge between our species and yours." "Her name is Hana," Velthara said. "After your sister." Taeyang felt tears on his face. "You're naming your daughter after Hana?" "In our culture, names carry deep meaning," Sarah said. "Your sister's name means one or unity in your language. That's what we hope for, unity between species. Our daughter will know the story of the human who saved her life before she was born. She'll grow up in a galaxy where humans have a voice. That's because of you." Taeyang held the baby carefully, marveling at how something so small could represent so much hope. Over the following weeks, Velthara helped Taeyang prepare for his future. The life debt was officially fulfilled, but their friendship remained strong. "I have an offer for you," Velthara said one day. "A position in my company and full funding to attend the Meridian Institute of Technology. It's one of the best schools in the galaxy." Taeyang was tempted. The Meridian Institute was legendary, but something held him back. "Can I think about it?" Taeyang asked. "Of course. Take all the time you need." Ambassador Park also made an offer. "Join Earth's diplomatic corps," he said. "You have a gift, Taeyang. You help people see each other's humanity. That's rare and valuable. We need people like you representing Earth." Taeyang felt overwhelmed by choices. A month ago, he was fixing air filters in maintenance tunnels. Now he had opportunities most people only dreamed of. He talked to his family through a video call. His mother Jiwoo looked older somehow, like the stress of the past weeks had aged her. His sister Hana bounced with excitement. "You're famous," Hana said. "Everyone at school talks about you. They want to know what it's like." "What is it like?" his mother asked quietly. "Really? Scary," Taeyang admitted. "I keep thinking about all the people depending on me. What if I'm not smart enough? What if I mess up?" "You already did the hard part," his mother said. "You told the truth and people listened. That's all anyone can ask." "When are you coming home?" Hana asked. "Home?" Taeyang thought about Luna Colony, his small apartment, the narrow corridors and recycled air. It seemed so far away now. "Soon," he promised. "I want to see you both. I need to figure out what comes next." 2 months after the council vote, Taeyang boarded a transport back to Luna Colony. Velthara, Sarah, and Ambassador Park saw him off. "Remember," Velthara said, "whatever you choose to do, you have friends across the galaxy now. You're not alone." "Visit us," Sarah said, little Hana sleeping in her arms. "Our daughter should know her namesake's brother." The journey back felt longer than the journey to Council Prime. Taeyang had time to think about everything that happened. The rescue, the request, the testimony, the vote. It all felt like a dream, but it was real. Humanity now had a voice in galactic affairs. Not a perfect voice, not complete power, but a genuine chance to participate and prove themselves. The transport docked at Luna Colony. Taeyang stepped into the familiar corridors of his home station. Everything looked the same, but he felt different. The narrow passages that once felt normal now seemed small. The gray walls that were just background before now reminded him of poverty. His mother and sister waited at the arrival gate. No press, no cameras, no officials, just family. Hana ran to him and he caught her in a hug. She was taller than he remembered. "You came back," she said. His mother hugged him next, holding tight. "I was afraid you'd stay out there in that big galaxy. I needed to come home first," Taeyang said. "To remember who I am." They walked back to their apartment together. Taeyang told them stories about Council Prime, about the different species, about Velthara and Sarah and baby Hana. His sister listened with wide eyes. That night, Taeyang stood at the window of their small apartment. Earth hung in the black sky, blue and white and beautiful despite all its scars. Luna colony spread around them, thousands of humans living and working and hoping for better futures. A message notification appeared on his communication device. It was from Velthara. A video file. Taeyang opened it. The video showed baby Hana in her crib, her crystalline skin reflecting soft nursery lights. Her eyes were open, looking at the camera with innocent curiosity. Tiny fingers reached toward something out of frame. Velthara's voice came over the video. She grows stronger every day. The doctors say she's perfectly healthy. Sarah and I owe that to you. Thank you, my friend. Taeyang saved the video. He looked out at Earth again, thinking about the future. He had decisions to make. School, career, purpose. But those could wait. For now he was home. He was with his family. He was just Taeyang Kim, a boy from Luna Colony who had done something brave and changed the galaxy a little bit. His mother came to stand beside him. "What are you thinking about?" "Everything," Taeyang said. "Nothing. I don't know." "That's okay," she said. "You don't have to know everything right now. You're 17. You have time." "Do you think I did the right thing?" Taeyang asked. "Asking for help for humanity instead of taking money?" His mother smiled. "I think you did exactly what you needed to do. You stayed true to yourself. That's always right." Hana joined them at the window, squeezing between them. The three of them stood together looking at Earth. "What happens now?" Hana asked. "Now humanity has to prove itself," Taeyang said. "We have 10 years to show the Council we deserve full membership. It won't be easy. But we'll try," his mother said. "We'll try," Taeyang agreed, and somehow that felt like enough. Trying was all anyone could do. The rescue had taught him that. You saw a problem, and even if you were scared, you tried to fix it. You didn't worry about being perfect or having all the answers. You just took one step, then another. Humanity would take those steps now. Some would stumble. Some would fail. But they would keep trying, keep learning, keep growing. Taeyang smiled. Outside, Earth spun slowly in the darkness. Inside, his family stood close. Across the galaxy, a baby named Hana slept peacefully, alive because someone had been brave. The future was uncertain, but it was also full of possibility. That was more than enough.